Hello and welcome to another edition of Shaquatics Live. Welcome. Happy to have you guys here. I'm excited. I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. I just want to mention before we start, I do now have memberships available on my channel. And basically, I did the memberships to get more access to me. So if you want more personalized access to me, take a look at those memberships. We got members only content, skill sheets I've created, priority replies, member Q&A only. So if you want a special Q&A with just the members and me, so take a look at that, join, and help me out. I would really appreciate it. Got a lot to talk about today. Before I start, I watched the SpaceX launch yesterday, and it just blew my mind. Watching the booster rocket come back and land back on Earth, that's what just knocks me out. Because remember when the booster rockets used to come down and just explode, and now they have them coming down and landing. Oh God, I love that. So if you haven't seen, they're sending a mission up to the space station to rescue those guys that have been up there for about 9 months because the Boeing space shuttle was inoperable, and so SpaceX is sending a mission up to get them, and they launched yesterday. So if you haven't looked at that, take a look at that. It's awesome. Today I'm going to talk about a water polo drill that I did in high school. So one thing my water polo coach, Craig Schwartz, Coach Craig, did really well is repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. We did the same drill every day in practice my freshman year. Now, some of you guys might relate to this. Back when I was in high school, we didn't have a lot of youth water polo programs. So we started water polo the summer before our freshman year. So our coaches had to get us up to speed in like 6-8 months for a season, 3-4 months for our first season, which is hard to do. It's amazing how much they did. So every day in practice, we would do this drill. So you guys can help me out. I want to know what drills you guys did or are doing right now every day that your coach is doing every single day. What great drills that your coach is repeating. Leave it on the comment section. I want to know about it. Also, if your coach is doing a dumb drill every day, I want to know about it. Send it to me right now or leave it on the comments section, and we can scroll down and have some fun with that. Sometimes coaches do some dumb drills every day. What a waste of time. How much of practice is wasted in a bad practice? That would be a good question too. You can leave me that. How much of your practice time is wasted during practice? A good coach will waste very little time. A mediocre coach will waste more time. All right. So I'm going to tell you about a great drill that we did every day. And then you guys can tell me about your great drills that you're doing or the terrible drills you're doing. This was a pressure passing drill. I'm huge on pressure passing. Let me turn this so we can see it a little bit better. Pressure passing is the ability to pass the ball when someone's guarding you, right? Very important skill. How many times have you been open and your teammate, hey, Jana, how you doing? Your teammate is not able to get you the ball. It's so frustrating. I'm wide open. My teammate cannot pass me the ball. It's frustrating because I would have a goal if my teammate could pass me the ball, right? So people say, well, you only had one goal in the game. Well, I would have had 3 if my teammates could have passed me the ball. So you make yourself a very effective player if you can pass the ball very simply under pressure. And so our coach, again, Coach Craig, every day would do this drill. He would have us line up on the goalpost, groups of 4, pressure passing. Like they'll write that in. Groups of 4, pressure passing. And we would do this right after we passed. So we'd already be on the goalposts, right? Doing our passing, 1 on each side. And then we would double up. So there'd be an offensive player, defense, offensive player, defense. There's your group of 4, right? Very simply, this guy would get the ball. He would turn his back to his man, right? Set the ball out in front of him, let go, right? And then he would turn his shoulder, step out, travel, and pass. So he'd turn his shoulder. If he was right-handed, he would go this way. If he was left-handed, go the other way. Turn his shoulder, step out onto his legs, travel in his egg beater, and pass the ball across. And then this guy would do the same thing. Put his back to his man, ball out in front, step out, travel and pass, and back and forth we go. And it's a great drill because you're working on, when you set the ball out in front of you, you're working on holding your man off, which is a great skill to have, right? And then when you're working on step out. So you're shooting that, if you're right-handed, you're shooting that right hip out to step out onto your legs, and you're working on traveling on your legs, and then you're working on passing. And what you can do with that drill, which is great, is you can work both hands. So one time you can do right-handed, and the next time you can do it left-handed. So not only are you working pressure passing, but you're also working your off arm too, and your good arm, which you guys should be doing all the time anyway. Every day, every morning, our 6 a.m. workout, we would do groups of 4 pressure passing. Great drill. Great drill. I amended it when I was a coach. I tweaked it just a little bit, but I like that drill. I would do that drill the same, but I tweaked it where instead of flat against your man, back to your man, I would just have them perpendicular going into the man. Because that's the way you're going to be in a game. You're not going to put your back to your man in a game on the perimeter. You might do that in 2 meters, but on the perimeter, you're going to go into them perpendicular, shoulder, off shoulder into them, and ball away. You're not going to put your back into them. If you put your back to your man when you're pressure passing, you can't see anything that's going on behind you. But if you put your shoulder into them, you can see the play right here in front of you. So I like it with the shoulder in and back. They both work slightly different things, and they're both valuable. But the key here is that I was fortunate enough to have a coach that was disciplined enough to know that we needed to do that every stinking day. And we did. And that's why we got good at it. You can't get good at something if you do it once and then skip 2 weeks and then come back. So I want to hear about you guys. What drills are you doing every day in practice? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they a waste of time? Are they very valuable? Hit me up and let me know if you're doing that pressure passing drill. And Jenna, I am doing great. How are you? How's your goalie work? How's it going? Had to switch team. Oh no. So Jana says, but for those of you who don't know, Jana's really nice, very sweet, kind, wonderful person. And she says she had to switch teams due to some bullying that was happening. We told the coach about it and they talked to them, but I decided just to switch teams with Becca, and now she goes to another school. Well, I hope your situation is better, and I'm sorry that you had to switch teams to do that. My question for you would be, are you still playing goalie or are you moving to the field? My second question would be, what, if you can get into details so you can help us out, you don't have to, but if you feel comfortable, can you give us a little more specifics on what kind of bullying it was? And we can talk about maybe how to handle that or how we can deal with it if the coach isn't going to do anything, which it sounds like the coach didn't do anything. So hit me up with that information. And while we're doing that, you guys need to hit me up with your drills that you're doing in practice every day. I'll comment a little bit about bullying. It's the coach's job to set the tone in practice. Now, life's not perfect. There's going to be jerks in this world, and so the coach can't correct everything. But if it's going on during his practice, he should be aware of it, and he should nip it in the bud, because that's not going to be good for morale. It's not going to be good for your success as a team, obviously. I find it to be mainly a problem on teams with weaker coaches who aren't really in charge. For example, if it were me and I found out somebody, maybe even my best player or my captain or whatever, was being a jerk to other players, I would just tell them that's not going to happen on this team. And if I see it continuing to happen, they'll be on the bench. And if it continues to happen, they'll be off the team. And I don't care if on paper we're a worse team. Maybe they're the best player on our team. I don't care. Because to me, there's things larger than just winning and losing, especially at the high school level. There's things called teaching, and there's things called giving kids a good high school experience in sports. And those things are paramount. And I think you can have, addition by subtraction, even if they're a good player. But if you get a cancer off your team might even do better if the morale increases. And I'm a teacher's coach anyway, so I'm going to teach up and coach up those players that aren't doing as well and hopefully get them to be better. I wouldn't put up with it for a second. So I'm sorry, Jana, that you had to deal with that. I'm glad that you're on a different team now. If you feel comfortable, let me know what kind of bullying they were doing. I'd love to kind of talk about it because I'm guessing you're not the only one that's dealing with that. Now that we're on the subject, if anyone else is dealing with that and wants to talk about it, please give me a message. Let's get into it. I started with talking about pressure passing, and then we kind of got on the subject of bullying. But we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Ask me a question. I already got out what I wanted to get out. I talked about memberships. I talked about the value and repetition. Hello, sir. Mr. Michael Johnson. Hey, you're in green, Mike. Must mean you're special. All right, so this has got to be Lee. All right, hi, coach. Every practice, my team practices a shooting drill with defenders on you. We do this for about 15 minutes, and we shoot from the 5 meter. We also have 2 hours in each of our practices. So you guys have a lot of time. That's good. All right, so a shooting drill with defenders on you. Lee, can you give me a little bit more specifics on what that shooting drill is? So are you driving to try to get open, so the defender on you and you're driving, try to maybe do an RB pull back for a catch and shoot? That sounds kind of like what it is. Tell me if that sounds about right to you, Lee. If it is, I love that drill. So what he's describing is a drill where you'd have a line up here, maybe at around point. He said 5 meters with a defender, and then everybody else is back here. Maybe a passer here at 2 meters, and then you just drive to try to get open. And there's two main ways you can drive to try to get open. You can drive to try to get inside water and get in front of your man and get the ball in front. Or you can drive hard, get your defender moving towards the goal, and then pull back for an RB or a rear back, as they call it. So you drive hard, pull back. So you get your man moving, then you pull back for a catch and shoot. And both of those are great to practice every day. I love that. It's a great shooting drill. Okay, he's talking about a shot blocker. Okay. So the drill I described is different than one Lee's doing. Lee's just has a shot blocker in front of him, and they're doing a shooting drill, practicing shooting around a shot blocker. Great drill too. Although I think you should mix in some ones with guys on you. That'd be fun too. All right. So Gianna is moving back to field. We told them when I was leaving, so they didn't really know about it because we didn't tell them until I left. Oh, they were talking bad about you guys on a group chat. Times have changed. We didn't have group chats back in the day and social media. I don't know how you guys deal with it. So there's a group chat, they're talking bad about you, and you went to the coach, and the coach did nothing, and it kept going, I'm assuming, and so you had to change teams. That's unfortunate. Why must people be so mean to each other? Do you think this happens equally on boys and girls teams, or is it more on girls teams? As I know from talking with Coach Brittany, girls teams tend to have a lot of infighting issues unless the coach is really strong for whatever reason. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's equally boys and girls teams. Just seems like these kinds of things. There's. It seems like girls are more threatened by other players, and so they lash out. Whereas guys, like I always loved when I had great players on my team. If I had a player that was better than me on my team, that's awesome because then we're going to be better. I don't want to be the best player on my team. I want to be. I don't want to be the best player on a mediocre team. I want to be a good player on a great team. So for me, I'm not threatened by rookies to come in that are awesome or um, players on my team that are better. It's my job to earn my minutes, and that would be my principal focus. But I'm not threatened by that. The better my teammates, the better our team, the more success we're going to have, the more we're going to win. That's all I'm thinking about. But you need a coach to talk about that with you guys, so you're not threatened. You know, I would tell the girls on that team. I'd say, look, the better these girls are coming in, the easier your life is going to be. You want that. You want to say thank you to those people, not be bashing them on a group chat. It's frustrating. I wish I wish that didn't happen. The guy that runs, this is Jana continuing, and for those of you just popping in, we're talking about bullying on a team. And I had some former teammates. She's telling me now that they were being bashed on a group chat and it wasn't resolved properly, so they had to change teams. So that's what we're talking about right now. And so she says the guy that runs the entire team went and talked to the team. I think it's more girls teams that have the most drama. I think you're right. That's my experience. Um, I would, yeah, unless you have the coach at the head that just puts a kibosh on it from the beginning. You know, look, we're all on the same team here. If you guys need to insult each other, then you're going to be on a different team. Go find a different team. It's not happening here. Otherwise, the everybody runs rampant, and then it's just a terrible experience. So, Jana, he went and talked to the team, but nothing changed. They continued to bash you. That's what I'm assuming. Yeah. Well, let's go back to Lee's shooting drill real quick. So Lee's drill, we're talking about repetitive drills you do in practice that are good. He has a shot blocker in 2 meters, and he's shooting at 5 meters around this shot blocker. It's a good drill because you got to shoot around a shot blocker a lot, right? So as a shot blocker, remember, generally you want to match arm to ball. So if I'm blocking a right-handed player, I'm going to have my left hand up. If I'm blocking a left-handed player, I'm going to have my right hand up. Oh, you'd left before they knew about the bullying. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you're on a better situation now and on a better team. And you're playing field again, which is awesome. You should do great at field. I hope your experience in goal helps you be a better field player. You better wing out, right? Nothing worse than a goalie looking at the backs of everybody's heads. All right, guys, ask me a question. I'm here. What do you want to know about? What's going on with your team? What's going on with your coach? Ask me a question. Otherwise, I'm going to talk about SpaceX. I got rocket ships on my mind ever since I saw the rocket ship yesterday. They're docking later today, later tonight. They're docking with the space station to try to rescue those people. It's going to be awesome. No more questions? No more anything? If there's no more questions, you can leave me a comment and I will try to get to it. Whoa, Lee wants to know what I think the worst drill to do is. Oh, that's a good one. There's a lot. I'll say this. A bad drill is one that it's slow and you don't get any reps. So if it's so slow and you're in line for 80% of the time, that's a bad drill. A good drill is one where there's multiple things you can do in the drill. So like in that, for example, in the drill I described earlier, the drive drill, you got the offensive player here, you got the defensive player here, you got the passer, right? So you try to drive on this man, right? And you try to score either by getting inside water, the RB, like we talked about. Then offense goes to defense, defense goes to the passer, and passer goes to the end of the line. So in this drill, you're working drive and shooting, you're working drive defense, and you're working your passing skills, right? And then if the line has just 2 or 3 people in it, you're working those a lot. That's a great drill. If there's too many people in the line, then the coach should have them do something else and then rotate you through. I like stuff that moves, and I like stuff where you're constantly doing something, not where you're sitting in a line. So I guess my answer to your worst drill would be any drill where you're waiting in line for too long is a bad drill. Yep. And then just if it's anything that you're practicing the wrong way to do it. Like I remember somebody came to me one time and said their coach on pressure passing taught them to throw the ball out in front of them into the water and then swim to the ball and then pick it up and try to pass. And I thought, when would you ever want to do that? So I have a guy guarding me and I want to pass the ball. So the first thing I do is throw the ball out in the water and then swim to it and then pick it up and try to pass. That just seemed really dumb to me. I don't know why anyone would do that, but just hold on to the ball and then step out and pass or draw a foul would be way easier than throwing the ball out. So to practice that drill would be a waste of time, which is what I told that player when they told me about that drill. I just said, that's a waste of time. I wouldn't do that drill. I would just do your own thing and see if the coach yells at you or not. If the coach yells at you, then you got to do his stupid drill. If he doesn't say anything, then just do your own thing. Sorry. I don't believe in practicing things that don't make sense. And I think that success wins. So if you're doing it your way and it's working, which it will, then the coach is likely not to say anything to you because it's working. What is he going to say something? But if you screw it up and you don't do it right, then he's going to have you do it his way. You got to throw the ball out in the water and swim to it. Pass it. By the way, I went to Claremont McKenna. They just had a swatting incident. Someone called in and said there was an active shooter, so they had the SWAT team go to Claremont McKenna. Someone texted me that. It was crazy. Why do people do that? Why do people? It's just, I don't even understand that thinking. Where do you get excited about having a SWAT team go and possibly kill people that are innocent because they think there's a live shooter on campus? It's horrible. Horrible. All right. So if you think of any questions that you want to ask me, if there's one that comes up, I'll answer it. But if you think of any questions, leave it in the comments section. I want you to also leave any drills that you guys are doing that are particularly good, repetition, every practice. Leave that in the comments section so we can take a look at that and we'll learn from each other. All right, guys, this is another episode of Shaq Live. I will be on next Saturday, 11 a.m. to talk water polo and anything else you guys want to talk about. Remember, check out our memberships. for special attention. And you guys have a great rest of the weekend. Have a great week. All right. Bye.